Hello, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Philly Sports Recap, brought to you by Sam's Community TV, creating content to build a community through genuine relationships. And, folks, before we get started tonight, make sure you like and subscribe so that we know that you want us to keep this party going. All right, so without further ado, what I want to talk about is your 17-7 Philadelphia 76ers, winners of 5 straight, and currently tied for second place in the Eastern Conference. Now, of the 5 wins, we've only played 3 teams. 2 games versus the Washington Wizards, 2 games versus the Detroit Pistons, and 1 game against the Atlanta Hawks without Trae Young. So I'm acknowledging our opponents. With that said, I think this was a perfect stretch for the Sixers for a few reasons. One, they were coming out of the in-season tournament sort of little break, mini break, if you will. And the first game against the Washington Wizards looked like a game where they were just playing. They didn't seem like they were really competing. Thankfully, we won the game, but it was good to see them focus and buckle down for the following 4 games. I came across this stat in terms of the offense and defensive numbers for the Sixers. And even though we ranked top 10 in both categories, in the first quarter, we were ranked 24th in our defensive efficiency. And so what that meant to me is that we just don't wake up till later on in the game. But in the last 4 games, you saw a concentrated effort for this team to get focused from the tip all the way through the final whistle. And I think those are the kind of habits that'll help you build the DNA for a championship run. Now, I wrote a few things down as I watched the Detroit game, the last 2 games, because it was really fascinating to see. But before I do that, I want to actually give a shout out to Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. I got my blenders, folks. So I ordered a pair of blenders because you got to believe, for Samantha and I back in August, I think, when the season first started, and they finally came in. Great packaging by Blenders. They finally came in, and I'm already getting a lot of use out of it. So in honor of prime time, Deion Sanders, and I'm actually probably going to do a video on Deion because I think that his impact on this next generation of athletes is going to be something really significant. And, I think it's something worth acknowledging. So today's episode, I'm going to go on my prime effect and give it to you straight. So what we're going to do today, we're going to jump into the soundbite from Marcus Morris Sr. And I want to acknowledge him because he said a few things that really resonated with me as a Philadelphian. But most importantly, I think that he's a player that can help us make a title run. Joel Embiid is a guy that needs to be held accountable. Playing with Marcus Morris Sr. is a guy that I think he has respect for, a guy who is proven. He plays hard. He plays the right way. And I think he's just part of this group of guys that are willing to hold each other accountable for what seems to be the greatest goal of winning a title. And what I really appreciate of what I've seen from Marcus Morris so far is how he's been celebrating Joel Embiid's play on the court. I wasn't sure what the relationship was going to be. I know there were Kansas guys, but you got to also remember in the first series against the Boston Celtics, the infamous 3-1 gesture when he was trying to tell Joel to pipe down because he was whooping, and he's like, "Look, y'all are down 3-1, player." You know what I mean? Like that's not how we do things. And he was right. And I appreciated the fact that he did that in Philly, just to go to show you what his mettle is. But to hear him today talking about how the Sixers are his favorite team all time, how is the Philadelphia to his core, I just think that he's the kind of piece you need in a real title run. It matters to him. He's in a space of his life where he knows what his role and his contribution is. He's holding everybody accountable. He's being held accountable. And I think that this team can make a real push. So let me know your thoughts. What we're going to do is just take in his post-game interview on December 15th against the Washington Wizards.
Your opponent's level, but you're playing and you're staying focused and doing what you guys have to do each and every time.
It's funny you say that. Me and Joel was talking about it after the game. about like playing down to the to level of opponent. I think by having a veteran team, having guys come off the bench as veterans, it keeps us into the game and understanding that the team they can't play with us. So from the beginning, like the first unit always. They take the first punch and they go after him, and Joel come out and he set the tempo. So, we just build off of it, and that's what good teams do, man. They don't play down to level competition, and we're doing a good job of that.
So they don't play down to the level of competition, and they're doing a good job of it. And again, I started off by saying the first game against the Washington Wizards after the in-season tournament break, they played down to the level of competition. That game was decided in the final possessions, and there's no reason Washington should have even been around. So to hear him saying that 5 games later just shows that they saw it as well, and they want to do something about it.
I just having consistent minutes, just figuring out my spots, and like I said, I'm a veteran from day one when I got here. I said I was a veteran, and I mean, obviously you guys knew that, but just being able to get consistent minutes and figuring out how guys play, where to be at, and things like that is definitely helping me, and obviously making a shot.
Before the game, Coach talked about how you guys were second in the league in deflections, but that hasn't really translated to turnovers. How do you think you guys did on that tonight?
I think Covington is first in earned possession, so I mean that helps to be second. I mean, shit, it's a long season, but I think we're trending in the right direction with that. It'll start to lead to steals more and more. Just continue to build, and just know that if you're getting a lot of deflections, that you're doing something right. So I mean, as the season go on, I think it'll keep getting better and better for our defense.
A lot of fast break points tonight. Is that a function of your defense? Is that kind of what kind of causes those? Is that a defensive effort that kind of transitions into your offense?
I mean, I think how many times have we played this team? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I mean, shit. You play a team 3 times in a matter of 2 weeks. Every game is going to be different. You're going to find different ways to score, different ways to get buckets. And today was getting in transition. The starters fucking plus minus was crazy. So that's what good teams do. I'm just happy every guy got to play. I think that means a lot to this team because there's a lot of guys on the team, a lot of veterans, so a lot of guys want to play. But I'm happy with the younger guys being able to get some time, and the Daniel Houses and the Springers and Paul Reed getting more time because some guys actually can play. So by having by beating teams and not having starters in the fourth is good for us all around.
So I just want to touch on a few things. He talked about the plus minus for the starters. He said it was crazy. I'm looking at the plus minus right now for the Philadelphia 76ers against the Detroit Pistons. Nicholas Batum, plus 30. Tobias Harris, plus 24. Joel Embiid, plus 28. DeAnthony Melton, plus 24. Tyrese Maxey, plus 37. That is crazy. The only person who had a negative plus minus on the whole team was Pat Beverly last night. Marcus Morris was a plus 12. I mean, this team just dominated that game. But these plus minuses coming out of your starting unit is crazy. So I just wanted to touch on that. Oh, the other thing that I was thinking about is that, he mentioned that they played the Detroit Pistons 3 times. First time they played Detroit, I think, was his first game of the season for the Sixers and in general, because I don't think he was playing for the Clippers. And it looked like that. He had a really rough start his first couple of games, but I'm glad the coach stuck with him because this version of Marcus Morris Sr. is exactly what the doctor ordered. I mean, he's almost 70% from the three-point line in his last like 5 games or something like that. Or even 10 games. Like it's a long stretch where he's shooting 64 to 70% from 3. That's incredible. He was 5 for 5 yesterday. But outside of just his efficiency, he always seems to be in the right place at the right time and knows exactly what to do with the basketball. And I think that you need these kinds of heads up players between him and Batum. I mean, Batum is so skillful. He might be one of the best passers Sixers have ever had, because I've never seen a guy who just has such an instinctual understanding of where the ball goes next. As soon as it touches his hands, he's already redirecting it. And I think that it's a talent, and I feel like he really enjoys playing with an unselfish team and a team that has world-class finishers in a Joel Embiid, in a Maxey, and obviously, these dead-eye shooters that you're getting out of like a Marcus Morris. So, kudos to, Daryl Morey. I know he got his extension for putting this team together, and I got to give him credit, man. It's a beautiful roster to watch as a Sixers fan. It's a beautiful brand of basketball under Nick Nurse. I'm watching Joel Embiid, who looks completely unlocked, and that's actually, let me get to that part right now. Actually, I'll do that part at the end of this. We'll just watch the rest of this press conference, and then I'll give you my takes that I got after the 5 games, but especially the game against Detroit. I took a couple notes that stood out to me about what this team, I think, is.
Well, real early in his career, including in the playoffs. Now you've been around him as a teammate for a little bit. I guess, what do you think has changed the most about him since back then?
I mean, just being in the locker room with him, like I didn't really know him well. Obviously, we both went to Kansas. So he's serious about the game. Like, a lot of guys, I wouldn't say aren't serious, but like the way he approaches the game, he's serious. So he's not letting you off the hook if you're a 6'5" center. You know what I mean? If you're a 6'6" center, whatever, he's not letting you off the hook. So, I mean, that right there tells a lot. And he can score from all 3 levels. I know that's not Joel Embiid breakdown, but god damn, this dude can he's a special player, man. Like, I haven't seen anything like that. Somebody like 7'1" can push the break, shoot the 3, post up, and then defend. I mean, it's a special player.
Marcus, how good is it to be home on a night like tonight? Everything clicking on offense. You got the support from your home crowd going electric for every 3. How's that feel?
I mean, not even tonight, man. Like, just being home in general. I'm from Philly. I grew up in front of a lot of these people. Just be able to see them on a night-to-night basis, and be able to play well in front of them. It means a lot to me. I've been playing in Sunny Hill leagues and things like that since I've been a child. Coming to the Sixers game when they had AI, going down to Friday, seeing him. If any of y'all know anything about that. But just that and being able to go to the Eagles game, like that's everything for me. I've been an Eagles fan my whole life. I've been a Sixers fan my whole life, and being able to put the jersey on, like I said, if it's not for forever, I'm happy to be able to say I did it. So.
You guys had that unit that starts the second quarter with Maxey, you, Covington, Oubre.
All right, I just want to touch on this piece real quick because he talks about being a lifelong fan from Philly. I just want to share a quick story of the first time I met the Twins. They're 34, I believe. I'm 43, so we have a 9-year difference. I believe I was in my senior year at Westchester University, either my senior year at school or after this summer after my senior year. But I think I still had 1 year to play. And I'm coming down City Line Avenue. And for those who know, you know how you'll see different club teams at stoplights, collecting money for travel, right? So you have travel teams that are trying to get money because, maybe parents can't finance everything that they need. And so, they get out in the community saying, look, we represent y'all. Can you help us? And I'm driving down City Line Avenue and I see these twins. And so if I'm 20 and so I'm about 24 years old, maybe 23 years old. So these guys are like 14, huge at 14. And I stopped, of course, to talk to them. I gave them money, but to notice when they first got to Kansas and it was like that meme of who is it? Leonardo DiCaprio when he's watching TV and he notices something, he's like, oh, whoop, 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 whoop. And when they first got to Kansas, I was like, those are the 2 kids from City Line Avenue. And then you just watch their progression all the way through the league. Now they're vets in the league, and to be able to root for him is kind of cool, in a weird way, because being from Philly, we all want to be, especially if you're a Sixers fan, you would all want to play for the home team. You know what I'm saying? And so for him to get an opportunity to do it now at this stage of his career, playing with a Joel Embiid. Listen, I get that he won the MVP last year, and I know a lot of Sixers fans were thought he got robbed 2 years ago. This version of Joel Embiid is something we have never seen. So for Marcus to be able to play with this version of Joel, and I think he's going to keep applying the pressure so that he maximizes his abilities. I think it's in everyone's interest, and I think for this team to have a hometown guy who's a proven vet who wants to win a title, I think is part of that recipe that I believe will allow us to have a true run to a championship. So that I just wanted to give that take based off of, Marcus sort of communicating how he feels about being a Sixer and putting on a uniform. And just as a lifelong Philadelphia myself, and seeing them as young bulls on a block, like collecting money so that they can travel and play, and to see him now at 34 just communicating, this has always been a dream. I just feel like there's something special about that. This is the brotherly love effect that I think are all the teams that actually make a true run for a title all have it. And I think the Sixers are demonstrating that they have a real brotherly love component in this locker room.
Paul Reed kind of maxing a lot of the athletic guys off the bench. How do you think that unit is gelled when you bring in the team to start the second quarters?
I feel like it's getting better and better. He's getting, because it's just consistent. We understand who's coming in. We understand Maxey is going to be super aggressive, and we just trying to find our spots around him and let him, do his thing and keep the ball in his hand. And he's playing really well, man. Young player that's picking it up, man. Like, he's understanding the grind of like actually showing up every day and being able to keep competing and getting everybody's best shot. So, I think it's all about consistency, and we're starting to really find our groove.
And what have you seen from Paul Reed, kind of like the other young guy in that 5-man unit?
I like P. Reed. P. Reed is an up-and-coming player. He listens. He works his and he's physical. So I enjoy being able to help him out and see little things and talk to him and actually see him do his little game and get one possession where he's spin, reverse layup. I love to see it. You know what I'm saying? Because he's practice. So I'm like, at least we get to see what you're doing in practice in the game. You know what I mean?
So I want to talk about that because I was in a group chat with some friends, and they were mentioning how Paul Reed is kind of all over the place, and this was my response to them. And so to hear him say it in the press conference, just confirms that I'm on point with mines, man. I know what I'm seeing. I said, look, when it comes to Paul Reed, it's all good. He's got to be either less weird or better at it. Quirky players have careers too. So when you just heard what Marcus Morris saying that, when he gets one possession to do his spin kind of thing, but he likes to see it because it's what he does in practice. So that's my point to my friends. Like, either we don't see it at all, or he just becomes better at those plays. And I prefer him to be better at it because quirky players have had careers too. I want Paul Reed to be Paul Reed. I want B-ball Paul to be B-ball Paul. So I'd rather him develop and just keep working on those quirky little things that he does that are very unorthodox and just do it at a high clip than to try to remove it from his game, because I think you're not going to get the best version of him, in my opinion.
It's actually working. So I like P. Reed. He's a good player, man. He got a bright future.
What Joel can do as far as playmaking has been really shining this year. He's got a career high in assists. How much does it mean to have the guy that can be, is the main scorer on offense, and also wants to share the ball and is able to do it?
He's trying to win. So he's trusting his teammates and he's trying to win. He's getting double teamed and he's making the right plays. And shot a double team. So, if you don't, last game he had 41 in 3 quarters. So it's like. He's doing what it takes to win, and like I said, when I first started talking, he really wants to win. So that attests to winning, and finding guys and getting off the ball when he don't have it, and it shows.
What's it been like so far playing for Nick Nurse? Last question.
Pretty cool. I played for Nick Nurse in the G League before he actually had a job, so I actually been in the league longer than he's been coaching. So just to see his growth, through team playing Toronto and now be here, it's amazing, man. It's like full circle. My first NBA, well, not NBA game, but G League game, he coached, and to be able to come back to my city and coach by the first coach I had in the NBA is pretty cool.
Thanks, Mark.
So I'm telling y'all, even the Nick Nurse relationship, right? I'm gonna put my prime times back on. Finish this segment out with my prime times. But even the Nick Nurse comment there, to me, is meaningful. It's meaningful. It's a guy saying, "Look, this matters to me. You know, I'm not taking. It's not by like I'm not taking it lightly that my first pro coach is also the guy I have when I get a chance to play for the home team." And I think he's going to want to make the most of it. And so, you know, look, to these Philadelphia 76ers, currently in second place in the Eastern Conference, I think the sky's the limit in terms of their opportunity. I do believe that we are as contenders as any other team in the NBA. I pray that the kind of move that we do make before the trade deadline is marginal, that really just adds the one maybe ball handler type of player that we might be missing. But I don't think we need to do anything drastic. I don't think we need to swing for the fence for another big name. I think that Joel and this team is solid. They are solid, and they play hard and they compete hard. And I think they know that there's a lot of conversation about improving the roster. And I think they don't want to be the name that goes. And what you're looking at is guys that are giving everything so that they're not the guy that has to, you know, be moved on for the team to improve, because I think they believe in their opportunities this year to play for a championship. So listen, if you like what I had to say in this video, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm definitely coming back to you probably tonight to break down the Charlotte Hornets 7 o'clock tip. I think we will definitely win this game based off of what I'm seeing from this team. They're not playing with their food. So until next time, folks, peace.